Hello friends, this is Parth Shah. Welcome back to my channel TechStack. Today we are going to take one more topic in Java, that is generics in Java. So before we deep dive into generics, please subscribe to my channel and put comments into comment box so I can improve. Thank you. So now let's take a generics in Java. So generics, when people heard, many times I have seen that people heard the word generics and they are a bit scared. So we will try to simplify the concept with all the practical demos. So today we are going to take cover all these topics: what is generics, why it is required, how to write a generic class, how to write a generic interface, and generic methods. How inheritance works in generics. There are certain thumb rules which we need to implement before we go for inheritance in generics. So, and the another topic is subtyping, how the subtyping works in generics, what we should follow, and the last topic is bounded type parameter. Now in bounded type parameter we have two type of bounded type parameters: upper bounded and lower bounded. So we will try to cover upper bounded types today. So everything I'm going to cover in as a practical demo, and the code is available into GitHub, and this PPT is available into Google Drive. So everything is available into description. So let's take the first concept. What is generics and why it is required? So basically the advantage of generics is it provides type checking at the compile time. It was introduced in Java 5. Now many times it happens that we can write without generics, we can write a code and we can just write we can have a code with object as a parameter, right? And that object can take string, integer, anything, and it will work fine. So there will be no issue at the compile time. But many times we try to cast from one type to another type and it throws error. So there might be more chances at if we have not written code with generics, that it will throw runtime exception which are not detected at compile time. So by using generics we can avoid such situations. So we'll go through a brief demo how it will work. uh, Another is code reusability. So if I have written a class, right, and if I want to write a sorting logic for string, integer, double, I don't need to write different class. I can just write a generic class with a type t parameter and it can be used for any other types. So it provides a feature of code reusability. Then elimination of casting from one type to another type. So that also we will see how it annihilates the casting of one type to another type, because it's already strongly typed when at the compile time itself. So compiler even know which type I need to have in this particular data type, and it provides type safety. So let's take a brief look into the code. So I have created a simple class data gen and it's a generic. So if I want to write a generic class, I just need to write a class, public class, and then specify a type parameter. Now this can be t, v, anything. It's just a type parameter. Now here you can, for now you can just ignore this implement idatagen. Okay, now I just write a simple datagen class which has one property and it is a type t. Okay, so if I specify datagen of string, it will replace with a string. If I specify datagen of integer, it will replace with an integer. And there is a getter and setter for this particular property, and there is a toString method. Okay, now we'll see brief demo, right? So I can use a generic class without any given a type, that is called a raw type. Okay, so the first concept is a raw type. So datagen is strongly, it's a type t parameter. I can specify type t parameter, but I can without type t also I can create the class. So I have created a datagen class, and then I have just set the value as a string. Okay, and while returning the value I am just casting it to string back. Okay, and I'm just printing it. So let's see, let's run the code. Okay, always save the resource before launching. Okay, so I got the I am string data as a output, which is fine, right? Now the issue comes in this scenario. Now in the same object I have set a integer value. Okay, because it accepts the data. So if I don't specify anything, it will accept the object as a parameter. Okay, so now it will accept integer also, but while if I return the same code to cast back to string, it will throw a class cast exception. Let's see that demo. You see, so the first thing it works fine. Now in second time I put integer, it works fine. It does not throw any error at compile time. When I run the code during the conversion, it throws the error. So here is the catch. So we should avoid to use raw data type. Instead of that, we should go for generic classes. Now how to use generics? This is the example for generic. Okay. Okay, so I created simple class datagen with a string type. So I can only set a string. If I try to set with a integer, it will throw me error. You see here, the method set data string in type datagen of string is not applicable to for the argument integer. So this is a type safety feature. It provides a type safety at compile time itself. I cannot add any integer value into a strongly string type parameters. Now if I run the code, it will give me output. There is no issue. Okay, similarly I can create a with integer also an integer. Similarly I cannot put a string value. Okay, and the last concept is for this topic is interface. So I can create a generic interface. Okay, I can create a generic interface with type t parameter, and the type t I can also use into my interface. Okay, and my generic class can inherit from another generic interface. Okay, so it's just like a normal hierarchy which we used to do. Okay, datagen of t implements datagen of t. The only thing I need to make sure is both the type parameter should be same. So I cannot have like this. If I have datagen of t and I put datagen of v, it means this can be a different type, this can be a different type, which is not possible. It will throw error. Okay, we cannot be resolved. The type datagen t must be implement the inherited abstract datagen of v. Okay, so this is not a possible. This will throw error. Now let's go to next topic. Okay, inheritance in generics. So as we have seen, right, how to write generic class and interface. Generic interface and class can inherit another generic interface or class, but both should have same type. Okay, so I can write public class t extends people of t, so that is valid, but I cannot write public class t extend people of v, that is invalid. Okay, one more concept: a non-generic class can inherit generic interface or class, but the type t must be replaced by actual type. Okay, so suppose for example I have declare a interface i1 with a type, so it's a generic interface i1 with the type t. Then I have another non-generic interface i2. I have a generic class people of t. Now a non-generic class, suppose employee, public class employee implements i1, but again I have to specify the type t. Okay, so at the compile time, even when I'm writing code, I have to specify the which type, whether it's a string or whether it's any custom type, so that I have to specify. Okay, if I don't specify, I cannot write type t here. So this is the thumb rule: a non-generic class can inherit generic interface, but type t must be replaced with the actual type. Okay, the third point is a generic class can inherit non-generic class or interface. So I can still go ahead with public class employee of t extend any other class non-generic human, so that is still valid. Okay, I forgot to cover one more concept here. Yeah, so comparable in Java, it's a generic interface. Okay, so just for demo purpose you will get an idea. The another topic is multi-type parameter. So hash map is a multi-type parameter. So what is multi-type parameter? Instead of t, a single type, I can have multi-type, right? I can have two or more than multi-types. So in hash map we have k and v, right? So k is key, v is value. So similarly I can create my own custom type like multi-type params with d and w. So let me show you demo. So this is my multi-type param. Okay, I specify two types, d and w. I can specify more than two also, that is fine, that is absolutely fine. Okay, so d, so here I have created two property, dry trash and wet trash. So dry trash is representing d, it's type t, and wet trash is w. So d and w, when I'm creating this particular object, I just need to specify the actual type. It may be string, integer string, or it may be any custom type also. Okay, so I just created a demo just to understand how can we create our custom type with multi-type params. So I created a multi-type params class with type d and w. So I have created two types, dry trash and wet trash, and just there is a setter, getter and setter properties. That's it. Yeah, and now I'm creating the object of multi-type param. So when I'm creating multi-type param, I just need to specify two types, integer and string. Okay, I created an object, and as the first parameter, right, it's a integer when I'm declaring. So my try d becomes integer here and w becomes string. Okay, so I can specify integer value to it, and here I can specify string value, and then I get the dry trash and I get the wet trash and just print the value. So dry trash give me 2, wet trash will give me string value. This is a wet trash. Okay, let's run the demo. Yeah, so it just print the value. Dry trash, it returns true, and wet trash, it returns some value, string value. Hope it's clear to you. Now let's get to another concept. This is very important concept, subtyping in generics. So whenever we create any collection with strongly type, right? So list of number lst1 equal to new array list of number. Okay, again one more thing, any type specified on the left side is always considered, any type specified on the right side is ignore. So this number we can specify or doesn't specify, doesn't make any sense to compiler. So when I say in left side list of number, it will accept the number only. Okay, now it can accept the value as number or its child type. Okay, so here instead of number I can give long, I can give integer, but I cannot give string because string is not a subtype of number. So subtype means if types are compatible, then we can assign. Integer is subtype of number, so we can add integer values to number, but we can't add string to number. Okay, let's take an example of subtyping. Okay, so in simple words, right, if I created an object and if I created an integer object, okay, so I have two objects, one is generic object and second is integer object. So as object is a base class of every type in Java, whether string, long, double, anything, so I can have o1 equal to i1, it works fine, right? This is a very normal concept. Now if I take a subtyping concept here, what does that mean? I have created a list of number. Okay, this is again not important. Okay, so I just remove it. Okay, I can pass number to it, which is absolutely fine. N is a number. I can pass string, I can pass long. Okay, and then I can run the code, so it will still work. 10, 20 and 40, it will still work. So subtyping means any type which is a compatible type, so we can pass that. One more classic example, like a custom example I have taken is, I have created a simple class called box. Okay, I have created a simple class box with a type t parameter. Now this box holds one list value, okay, list of t, and it has a getter and setter. That's it. Now if I go to, so there is this another class called square box. Yeah, so square box inherit from box. Okay, so square box extend box. Okay, and it does not have anything else. So in subtyping I created a list with box of integer. Okay, now I can put any class object with a whose type is box, or I can have any object which is of square box. Okay, so here I put the first box and then I put a square box value, so it will take any compatible types. So box is a compatible type, so this is the object of box and this is the object of square box, so both are compatible, and then I just print it, so it will work fine. So I just put the 2 3, which is a type of box. Okay, the box takes the integer list as an argument in a constructor, so I just create a box object with a strongly type integer, and it takes list of t, so list of integer as an argument. Okay, so if I show you, box of the constructor takes list of t as an argument. Okay, so I pass 2 and 3 and I pass 1 and 9 for square box, and it works fine. Now what is important to understand here is, now this is the interview question. array list of number, I cannot write like this, array list of number equal to new array list of integer. Okay, because array list of integer is not equivalent to array list of number. Both are different. Even though integer is subtype of number, but both array lists are different. Okay, so array list of number is equal to new array list of integer. No, that's not possible. Again, list of box of integer, lst box equal to new array list of square box. That is also not possible. Okay, so either I don't have to specify any type, so it will take the type on the left side, okay, or it should be the same type which is specified the left side only. Okay, I cannot have two different type. Similarly, people ask question like list of fruits, lst equal to new list of apple, because apple is again a child type of fruit. So is it possible? No, it's not possible. One more thing in generics, when we specify a syntax like this, right? Just throwing error because I have used the same type. Now, so if I say a list with no type specified, lst num equal to array list of num, then okay, this number doesn't make any sense. Similarly, I specify another type with array list with no type, it's also raw type. So this is also raw type. I can add integer also, I can add string also to it, it will work fine. Okay, see, it doesn't give any compile time error. Even though it's a array list of number, it doesn't give any compile time error. So because it takes, the compiler takes the type which is specified on the left side only. So this particular syntax, it's a raw type, lst, this is also raw type because there is no type specified, this is also raw type. So in a way, all these three syntax are same. Okay, even though at the right side is a number, no type and string, all the three things are same. And the last topic is upper bounded type in generics. Now, many times when we write code, we want to restrict that code to use certain types only. So let me give you an example. This is upper bounded demo. Okay, so I just created one class, data sorter with type. Okay, now this is just a generic class with only type, so I can specify any type. I just create one class. There is a constructor which takes, there is a property called list, there is a constructor which initializes the list, and there is a sorting method. It just sort the list variable. Okay, this dot data sorter dot sort null, so it by default sort by ascending order. So it's a normal class. Now I can specify list of, okay, so I just create a list of integer with some random values 5, 2, 8, 1, 9, and then I just created data sorter type with integer type. Okay, and then I just invoke the sorting method. So here what I'm trying to achieve here is I just specify a data sorter type with integer, and I specify my integer list, and it performs the sorting. Similarly, I create one more list with string, like with different variety of ice cream, butterscotch, chocolate, American dry fruit. Then I specify data sorter type with string, and then invoke the sorting method. So it will work for both. So basically it sort my integer list, it sort my string list. Okay, now suppose if I want to run a particular logic only for numbers, I don't want to run it for string, then how can I restrict the type? So I created one more type. Okay, data sorter upper bounded. So now in data sorter upper bounded, I specify t, but I write one more syntax called extends number. What does that mean? This is a upper bounded type. It means I can specify any type, but that type should be number or it should be child type of number. Okay, so in Java, integer, long, double all inherit from number. So I can either specify number, I can specify integer, I can specify double to this class, but I cannot specify string. So I'm restricting my type to a certain type. So if you want to restrict type param t to accept few types only, then we can use upper or lower bounded types. So if I go to data sorter upper bounded type, let me go one more time to this class so you'll get an idea. Data sorter upper bounded is my class name. T extends number. Okay, rest of the things are same. There is a list property in constructor, it accepts the list property. Okay, so we initialize this list property and then we do the data sorting. Here data sorter dot start null is this, so by default it will do the ascending sorting. Okay, so here I specify the long variable. Okay, and just my values are 99, 100, 5 and 2. I run the code, Alt Shift XJ. Okay, so before sorting the value was 99, 100, 5 and 2. After sorting it was 2, 5, 99 and 100. Okay, now here as I told you, I cannot specify my data sorter with string type. It throws error, bounded mismatch. The type string is not valid substitute for bounded parameter T extends number. Okay, so we are restricting a type to a certain parameter. Okay, now there is one more topic. Okay, how to write a generic method. So if I just want to write all this logic, right, which I have written into my data sorter upper bounded, right, this is my logic. So I want to write within a method also, I can create a generic method. So how to create a generic method? This is simple syntax. I just need to write public static return type and method name as usual, and then I specify list of t. Now this t will not be recognized, so I need to specify that list of t here. Okay, so generic method, I just need to write a t here. It's a non-generic class, so I need to specify this type t parameter into syntax. If it's a generic class, then we don't have to specify. So if I want to write a generic method within a non-generic class, I can write in this manner. Okay, so my argument takes list of t, so I just need to specify the t here. Okay, but I have created a generic method with type t parameter, but it extends number, so it's a upper bounded method. Okay, upper bounded generic method. It does the same thing. So if I just uncomment these 3 lines, it will call this particular method sort number subtypes only. It calls this method. Okay, and let me run that. Okay, so it run this method and it sort the list. Now one more last concept, that if you want to write generic method, okay, and if I want to write any custom type here also, I can write custom type instead of inbuilt type, right? So here I specify 2 interface. One interface ice cream, second interface is toppings. So if I want to write a generic type which extends 2 different types, then I can write with the help of ampersand keyword. Okay, the t extend ice cream and toppings. What does that mean? My t should be a type which implement both these particular types. So in this case both are interfaces, so I need to create a class which implement both ice cream and toppings. Okay, so I just created butterscotch ice cream with implements ice cream and toppings, and then I'm creating this get sorted data method here. So I just created butterscotch ice cream, and in get sorted data I just specify that object. Okay, but if I create the any class which is implementing only one interface, then it will not work. Here it means I have to compulsory implement both the types, then only it will work. And the syntax is extends type 1 ampersand type 2, and we can have so on ampersand type 3 and all these things. Okay, so now we are restricting it to custom type, and it just shows that data bounded with 2 custom interface. Okay, get sorted data executed. I have not written any logic within this method, I just print some line. So basically the intention was that this particular method is calling. Okay, I hope I cover all the important topics in generics. The code is available into GitHub. Thank you very much for watching this video, and please subscribe my channel if you like my video. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Bye bye.